Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream.
Life isn't easy, and it's filled with so much tragedy that it feels so viscerally true that surely being happy and pursuing pleasure ought to be what we get after. With so much suffering, why not have a moment to enjoy a meal or listen to your favorite music? Whether by an act of God or evolution, we are here, and we must ask ourselves, why is there any suffering at all? Almost everything in the universe is trying to kill us, so it would only make sense to enjoy what fleeting moment you have of joy. We know we can't be happy all the time, and for many of us, our only source of happiness might be some music, a pet, or a meal that reminds you of some time before. There is this notion that existence is pain, and it's worth examining. But work with me here. I want a bit of a thought experiment. What if we discovered a pill or created a machine or some kind of hypnotic state to make suffering cease to exist? Why not just plug in? Why ever leave? If you like these videos and want to see more of them, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. I'm currently trying to grow this channel and hit 1,000 subscribers, so anything you can do would be greatly appreciated. In his 1974 book, Anarchy, State, and Utopia, philosopher Robert Nozick proposed a thought experiment that challenges our understanding of pleasure and pain. The thought experiment was known as the experience machine. This machine was supposed to provide the user with any experience they desire, allowing them to feel pleasure and happiness beyond their wildest dreams. Nozick asked the question, would you plug into this machine and live in a world of pure pleasure for the rest of your life? So one day you decide to hop into the machine and you go on a lucid dream of pure extravagance. You're vacationing in Bora Bora, you're partying your heart out. You have the best food, the best cars, the best music, the best girlfriend. You do this for years and years and years until one day you decide you want to shake it up a little bit. So for your next dream, you introduce a little bit of risk because after all, you can have anything you want, any result you want in this dream. Everything just gets handed to you. You've removed any pain, discomfort, suffering, or failure from the equation. These dreams are pure pleasure. Robert makes the point, however, that one day you say maybe, just maybe, in your dream, you actually have to play a real game of basketball, one where you might actually lose. You take the shot and you end up winning, so you play again, and the second time around, you lose. You get this interesting feeling and you think to yourself, now you really want to win. Eventually, on round 3, you turn things around and you win. You find yourself enjoying the thrill. And so the next day you change it up again and you jump into the machine and you decide you want to introduce women into your dream who you have to actually entice and persuade. And you have to get them to be interested in you instead of just having them fall into your lap and be infatuated. You have to actually be interesting. And some of them don't like you, you find out, but you find joy in the ones who stay. You progressively add more elements to your dreams and slowly increase the risk and the odds of failure until you have a life not that different from your own. You eventually get bored of these dreams of pure pleasure and you find yourself throwing more and more obstacles and challenges to yourself in your dreams. You fill the dream with even more complexity, more possibility of suffering and pain. Sooner or later you say to yourself at this point, I might as well just step out of the machine and just participate in reality. You realize that without failure, pain, suffering, pleasure, success, and comfort, all those mean nothing without each other. There was a philosopher named Alan Watts that pointed this very thing out many, many years ago in a talk once, that if you could dream anything, sooner or later, you dream a world not too different than the one you have now. This is to say, eventually you would want to live in a world with the possibility of failure, one where you can't just snap your fingers and make it go away. If pleasure is indeed the thing we're after, as hedonists would say, then we all would want to go live inside the machine, for it can grant us much more pleasure than we could ever experience in the real world, right? Ultimately, if the purpose of pain and suffering is to avoid it, then why do we sometimes go out of our way to experience it? We train for triathlons, we go to scary movies, we get painful tattoos, we have a doctor stick a needle in us, we fall off our skateboard, we take a risk in the stock market, we end a relationship that has run its course, we put down our pets and attend funerals, we might make ourselves hungry for our own good, we eat spicy food, we stay up late, as I am right now to finish this video. Clearly, there is something more to life than just pursuing pleasure. If Robert Nozick and Alan Watts can show that there is something other than pleasure that has value, and thereby increases well-being, then hedonism is kind of defeated. If you want a life of meaning, you have to accept some level of suffering. In other words, you have to find something worth suffering for. That could very easily be a fulfilling career, a child, a pet, or maybe just exploring the world and trying to make it better than how it was when you first got here.
Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time, or any length of time you wanted to have. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control. Well, something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. And you would dig that and come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? And then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, of playing that you weren't God.